Hey there, Davin Montrose here of TheDavinatorPro, and in this video I'm going to be taking you on a walkthrough and review of the Pinterest platform. Now, right now, before we get started, I should mention that Pinterest is for automating your Pinterest marketing. It helps you to build a following on autopilot. It helps you to schedule pins so that everything happens in the background, and it does, several other things as well. And it's all to help you to free up your time so you can take on some other tasks in your business, so your whole day isn't spent, just simply doing the Pinterest portion of your marketing. So um, I think it's important to say that right now this is a brand new account. I've been running Pinterest on this particular account now for 5 days. It's February the 17th, and I began on February the 12th. So in that time, I've used a few of the features. I haven't used them all yet, but um, I'm learning more about it as each day goes by, kind of thing. But as you can see, so far on complete autopilot, I've built a following of 220 followers, which is, very, very good. I'm quite pleased with that, considering, it was all done basically hands off. I haven't once I set up a few things in here, I haven't really touched it um, at all. And I think it's also important to mention that I did look at some of the competitors to Pinterest before deciding on Pinterest as the platform I was going to use. And in my opinion, um, Pinterest has just far better features, and it seems to be a lot more stable than some of the other platforms out there. As a matter of fact, I'm a member of one of the Facebook groups of a rival, um, platform that does automation for Pinterest as well. And there are people in there that are excited about getting their first 50 followers in a week. Um, so I'm really quite impressed with the 220 followers in my first week using this platform. So anyways, with all that said, let's just dive into it a little bit here and have a look around, and I'll try and walk you through some of the features. So right here is the main dashboard, and it's, as you can see, it gives you an overview of what Pinterest has done for you so far. Like, so far in the last 5 days, it's posted 122 pins for me. It's followed 371 users. And from all of that action so far that it's performed, I've received 220 followers. Now, what's going to happen actually at the end of the day today, because it is the 5th day of running, is it will go in and it's going to start to unfollow a bunch of these users. It follows and unfollows for 5 days. Like, it'll follow for 5 days, and then it's going to unfollow for 5 days, or unfollow 5 days worth of followers, I should say. Um, so it's off to a really good start. Um, no complaints at all there. And as you see, it even has a message here. When unfollow box is checked, and after following a new user, Pinterest waits 5 days and then unfollows them. And that's really important for Pinterest accounts, because you don't want to have to be following too many people as compared to the amount of followers that you have. So it's awesome that it does that, all on automation for you. Okay, so next we have the tags portion, and this is actually, where Pinterest knows how to, find your followers. It's followers of people that are tagged into boards that fall under these types of tags. And right now, they say you should have 10, and when I first got started, I noticed that a lot of followers were happening up really quick. And as a matter of fact, my first few days is when I gained a lot of the followers. And I've since learned, and I still have to make a few changes in here, but I've since learned that some of these terms in here I should actually have to be even a little bit more generic than they are. I got some fairly specific tags in here. I could probably take out social media marketing and just leave it as social media, and I can probably take out vacation spots and just leave vacation. Because sometimes what may happen is it'll look perhaps a little bit too hard for that exact tag on certain boards, whereas it will find a lot more content to post for you and people to follow based on simpler tags. So I learned that from another person actually reviewing the software when I was learning how to use it myself. So there are changes that I do have to make here yet. And here's your speed control, and I just left this at default because you know, Pinterest knows their software better than anybody, I'm sure, and they know Pinterest's limitations, you know, as far as to what's safe and what's not safe when it comes to getting your account banned and whatnot. So when you're first starting out, you know, it tells you right here that you should have everything set to at 120 per day. And then as you start to get a bigger following and your accounts build as far as the amount of pins and everything, then you know, you can start to ramp that up a little bit each month, so that you keep getting more and more followers. So below that we have actually got all of the actions that Pinterest has done for you already. And as you can see, you know, they got all of these different pins, and these are people that it started to follow and whatnot on my behalf. And this is, like I say, 5 days worth of growth here, and I believe I can add more if I wanted to, but I'm sure you get the point. It's basically the background history of everything that Pinterest has done for you since you started it. Okay, so next we have these are my boards. Okay, so these are the boards that Pinterest is auto pinning to right now, and I'll mention these boards that are off in a minute, and I do have them off for a reason, but there's a very important reason for that. But so far these are the boards that it's pinning to. And when you sign up for Pinterest, there's, you know, it's a real simple it's a real simple thing, but you just have to hook your Pinterest account into Pinterest. But it's, you know, it's a really simple process to do that. So, and if you click on one of these boards as well, like let me just click here for a sec, it explains to you, you know, what you should be doing to set up your boards properly and whatnot. Now these boards are off, but there's a reason for that. But if I look at this other one here, whoops, didn't mean to do that. You can see that I have more tags in here as well as compared to the last board I just showed you. Okay, so I better turn that one back on. Oops, what did I do? Save tags. There we go. Okay, now if you recall, I had mentioned that I had a couple of boards that weren't actually set to auto pin. And the reason for that is actually behind the strategy that I'm using that will get me the traffic to my own blog. And I'm following a certain strategy, well, from a couple of courses actually, but just to give you a little more value out of this video, you create a special board, and this particular board is called the Best of the TheDavinatorPro, and this will be pins that come directly from my blog, and the pins that I create for certain posts. So instead of the Pinterest going out and finding just pins on random to post to the other boards, these ones are off here until I set it up to schedule, you know, exactly when I want those pins to be created. See, right now I'm looking at my blog and I have an image here and whatnot, but what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go back and actually change some of these images out that I feel are more pinnable, because these blog posts were actually made before I started using Pinterest. So that's why you know, that I haven't used that feature yet. However, I just wanted to mention that there about what you can do with it. You can schedule these to go out at any time that you want in the future. So you know, it's just another great feature for totally automating your Pinterest marketing. And as well, let me talk about the invite feature here quickly. Part of the whole strategy behind what I'm doing is getting into group boards. And once this gets up to around 1,000 followers, and maybe before, I may get invited to actually post into some group boards before I get to 1,000 followers. But it's kind of important to get to 1,000 followers first, and then I can approach other group boards and the guys that are administrators of that board, so I can join the group boards. And that's when your traffic can, you know, really increase to a, you know, a very high level, is when you start getting accepted into group boards and able to post to different group boards. So that's the whole key behind the strategy to getting a lot of clicks back to your own website. So I thought I would mention that inside of this video, just so you know, just to give you a bit of a strategy behind what you're doing with Pinterest. And if you see this feature here, this is invite, and you can also create your very own group boards. And what this feature will allow you to do is to go out and find other pinners that are you know, in your own niche and whatnot, and you'll be able to send them personal invites, you know, using the invite feature. And you might want to set that up to, you know, maybe four or five members a day, or, you know, whatever is within the safe parameters of Pinterest here. And that way you can also create your own boards, as well as be a member of other boards to pin to. And, you know, it's just a very good overall strategy, you know, to be using with Pinterest. So that pretty much covers most of it, of what you can do in here. Oh, except for this last feature here, is this pin website. This allows you to put in a sitemap. The way I understand it, like if you ever need an explanation of what each portion does in here, there's a handy little guide right here, and it explains to you exactly what each feature does inside of Pinterest. And that feature there is, you know, basically it's choose a sitemap, and it's from website. So, you know, if we go back to here, if I click on it, pin content from my website, you can attach a sitemap URL to one or more boards, and once it's done, each URL from your sitemap will be automatically pinned to a chosen board. And if you don't have a sitemap, simply attach your home page and it will be crawled, and all the pages on your site will be pinned. See, that's another excellent feature of the software. So I felt I had better mention that in here as well. But as I said, with all the features, if you ever want to know and need to know what each part of them does, you just go over to this handy little guide here, and you can learn about each different feature as well. This is actually how I started to be able to learn how to use it. There are other customers in here that have made videos to help you along your way, and you can learn more about the strategies that they're using to build their following on Pinterest, or with Pinterest as well. So I hope that gives you, you know, a good overview of this awesome tool. As I said, I did test out a couple of other ones before I tried Pinterest, and, you know, in my personal opinion, Pinterest seems to be about the best one out there as far as the capabilities of it, and also the pricing as well. So I hope you enjoyed my review of Pinterest, and I look forward to seeing you in my other videos. Take care for now.